Hey everyone! So, the topic that I'm going to discuss today is the importance of LGBT representation on TV. This is a topic that is very important to me as I am a member of the LGBT community, and seeing this type of representation as a child would have really helped me with my self acceptance and coming out process. Surprisingly, the first depiction of gay people on TV wasn't until 1972. The TV movie That Certain Summer is about a divorced father who hides his male lover from his teenage son. It is widely praised and considered to be the first sympathetic depiction of a gay couple on television. In 1977, the show The Jeffersons, in the episode Once a Friend, George Jefferson learns that his old army buddy Eddie is now a transgender woman named Edie. This was a very early representation of a transgender person on television. Maybe not a great representation, but it is one nonetheless. There has been many smaller appearances of LGBT representation in shows as time went on. In 1994, My So-Called Life, in the episode Life of Brian, young gay love sparks as Ricky develops a crush on his new classmate Corey. Also in 1994, the show Roseanne featured an early same-sex kiss between Mariel Hemingway and Roseanne Barr. In Don't Ask, Don't Tell, 30 million viewers tuned in to watch this episode. Two years later, in 1996, the funny and universally loved show Friends aired the episode The One with the Lesbian Wedding. This episode featured the marriage of Ross's ex-wife Carol to her partner Susan. This episode drew in 31.6 million viewers despite the fact they didn't seal their vows with a kiss. Since then, there have been even bigger steps in LGBT representation. One of the best, in my opinion, is Orange is the New Black. The Netflix series that aired in 2013 was a groundbreaking show for the LGBT community. The show contains a wildly diverse cast of strong, beautiful women. They have many different races, lesbians, interracial couples, and a strong, beautiful transgender woman. The show also makes big strides in touching on very sensitive topics. The show has had depictions of rape, sexual harassment, drug abuse, suicide, and racism. This show is not afraid to touch on those touchy subjects that other shows are too scared to do. I don't necessarily think the show is a great influence, but it does give great examples of diversity and inclusion that are very important. Since Orange is the New Black, LGBT representation has become a huge part of some of the biggest shows on TV currently. Shows like Riverdale, One Day at a Time, The 100, and many more are helping to normalize LGBT people on television. In more recent years, there has been a record-breaking number of LGBT characters on TV. A GLAAD study from 2017 stated that 2017 was the best year ever for LGBT characters on TV. 6.4% of characters on TV identifying as gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or queer. The study found that 58 out of 901 regular characters identified as LGBT, 16 more than the previous year. Streaming services like Netflix and Hulu had an increase of 6 regular LGBT characters across all original series. Across all platforms, they found 9 characters who identified as trans women, 4 who identified as trans men, and 4 non-binary characters. This is also the first year they were able to count asexual and non-binary characters in the study at all. This type of progress is incredible to see, but it doesn't come without its issues. The number of bisexual characters decreased slightly from previous years. Bisexual characters also are the majority of women rather than men. Another topic of concern is a lack of racial diversity. On streaming services, 77% of LGBT characters are white, which is a very poor representation of the community that is filled with people of all races. With the tremendous stride that the LGBT community has made on television in the last 40 plus years, the question still remains: why does this representation matter? Why is it so important? What can we do to keep improving and become even more inclusive? It is impossible for me to fully explain the power of being able to identify with a public figure, especially when the viewers feel they can relate to this person. Michael Morgan, a former professor at the University of Massachusetts, told the Huffington Post, "When you don't see people like yourself, the message is you're invisible. The message is you don't count, and the message is there's something wrong with me." Over and over and over, week after week, month after month, year after year, it sends a very clear message, not only to members of these groups, but to members of other groups as well. So imagine yourself as a closeted teenager who is ashamed of being gay. You are terrified of your parents not approving, losing your friends, and losing the only life you have known. You go to watch TV and you see a happy gay couple living a wonderful life. And for a minute, you get a tiny bit of hope that things are going to be okay. I understand that with everything else going on in the world, this can seem rather insignificant. What we are talking about isn't just entertainment. This is about equality and inclusion. And that's a conversation that is always going to be worth having. Thank you guys so much for your time. Here's my sources for my research and also for my images. And I hope you guys have a great day.